everybody, welcome back to the homework help for lesson 6.3, simplify rational expressions, common binomial factors. So once again, I've just went ahead and did the assignment on Khan Academy, and these are 4 questions that you could come across. So remember from 6.1 or 6.2, step 1 is we need to factor the numerator and the denominator. And of course, from the last video, we need to factor both of them. And since I see a z squared and I see a z term and I see a constant term, I'm going to go ahead and go to my t-chart factoring right away. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and do the top. And I'm going to go right into factoring. Remember, on this side of my factoring, I want to do A, the z squared term, times C, the constant term. So 1 times 64 is 64. And I need to start thinking of all the ways that multiply and give me 64. And then the B term here in the center goes on the other side. So minus 16. All right, so I've got 1 and 64. I've got 2 and 32. I've got 4 and 16. And then I do believe the last one is 8 and 8. Those are all the different ways that I can multiply and get 64 as an answer. All right, now I need to start thinking about what makes them positive. Well, a positive times a positive is positive, but 1 plus 64 is 63, not negative 16. So how can I get it to be negative? If I change just this one to a negative, if I change just the first one to a negative, I'm going to have a negative times a positive, which gives me a negative 64 when I multiply. Not going to work. So I need to have them both be negative. And we've already ruled out the positive and the positive because we said that gives us 65. Sorry, I think I said 63. 65 when I add. Now I'm going to get negative 65. So there's what I want. Everybody down this row is negative. Everybody down that row is negative. Once you get really good at this, you'll be able to find right away, just like that, which one adds to negative 16. But until then, I'm just going to keep adding. So negative 2 and negative 32 is negative 34. Negative 4 and negative 16 is negative 20. And negative 8 and negative 8, there's my negative 16. Here's my 2 factors. So now I know that the top is going to be factored into 2 factors. The letter goes first, in this case z, and then I'm going to put each one of these in one and then the other. So minus 8, minus 8. There we go. All right, now let's do the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom. It's very similar, except it seems to be missing something. I have A is 1 times C, negative 64, so not much change here. I already know my factors. Yay, that's going to save me some time. Let me get them in here. But I don't have a B term. If you remember from the other videos and from the last lessons, when I don't have a B term, B is 0. So now I have to figure out which one of these would give me 0. Well, 1 and 64 is not, 2 and 32 is not. It's got to be 8 and 8. And the only way to do that is one of them is negative, one of them is positive. So there's where I'm using that. I'm just kind of using my ideas of, I know that this and this cannot make 0. I know that this and this cannot make 0. Okay? But I could have gone ahead and done the same thing. There's my positive 63. Okay, so just to fill it in, there we go. All right, so now I know that the bottom is going to have 2 factors as well. The letter comes first, the variable, minus 8 from the first one, plus 8 from the second one. Now remember, at this point, this is where you're going to get your undefined from. So this is where you're going to go down in Khan Academy to your A, B, C, D, E choices, and you're going to have to pick where is the where is this equation undefined? Where is it excluded? What's excluded from it? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do those. I have to do both of them. Z minus 8 equals 0 or Z plus 8 equals 0. I have to go ahead and do them both. So here I add 8. Z is 8. Of course, this means Z cannot be 8. And here I'm going to subtract 8. Maybe you started to pick up on a pattern that whatever they look like here, it's always the opposite when I solve. Yes, that actually happens every time to get your undefined. So once you get really good at it, this step is not even necessary to be shown. All right, to simplify it, I think I have just enough space right here. I notice that there's a Z minus 8 on the top, a Z minus 8 on the bottom, so they're going to cancel each other out completely. The whole factor is gone. The Z, the minus, the 8, both of them, top, bottom, gone, leaving me with Z minus 8 on the top and Z plus 8 on the bottom. This is a perfectly acceptable answer. Khan Academy accepts it. I know, I've tried. I like parentheses, but that's because I know where we're going. Okay, once again, I just know where we're going. And of course, the Z's that it cannot be are 8 and negative 8. Those are the two. Okay. All right, let's see the next problem. Let me slide that on up. Here's my next problem. Simplify 28 minus 7k squared over k squared minus 4. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is the top. I think there's a common factor there. And the reason I want to look at that is because I know that 28 is not a perfect square, and I know that 4 is. So I already know how to factor the bottom, but I'm going to show you with the factor tree. But I think 28 and 7, I think 7 goes into 28. So I'm going to try taking 7 out, which leaves me 28 divided by 7, 4 minus k squared. Yay. Okay. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to refer to another video that we did where we noticed that these two, I'm going to put this bottom one in parentheses, are opposites of each other. I think they were called negatives of each other, and which means they're so close together, I can make them be the same. And if you recall, to make them be the same, all I have to do is make this 7 become negative 7. So if I make the 7 become negative 7, I can switch the k squared and the 4 on either side of the subtraction sign. And I have this, okay? Now, just to save us a little time with factoring, okay, I've got k squared minus 4 on the top, and I've got k squared minus 4 on the bottom. Yes, those cancel out, leaving me a simplification of just negative 7. Hey, yeah, that could happen. Now I have to know what is excluded, just in case Khan Academy asks for that. And to do that, it's this one. This is the one that's going to give me my excluded or my undefined. Okay, maybe I'm just going to remind you that sometimes it's excluded. He kind of goes back and forth between the two of them, which term he uses. So remember when I am missing something, I'm trying to figure out where to write it. K squared minus 4. When I'm missing that k term, to make it missing, I have to have a 0, right? I have to have a 0. See if that'll focus a little more for you guys. There we go. Okay, so 1 times negative 4 gives me negative 4, and then 0 on this side because it's a times c for the larger side, B goes in on the other. 1 times 4, 2 times 2. Excuse me. I swear I don't have the COVID. Okay, -1 plus 4 is +3. There's my 0. Here it is. So the bottom would have factored into k minus 2 and k plus 2. So if I use my 2 shortcuts, when I set this equal to 0, I'm going to get +2, and you can see it right here. I'm adding 2 to both sides. K equals 2. And when I set this one, k plus 2 equal to 0, I'm going to get -2 because I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. So my 2 excludeds are 2 and -2. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here and call it part 1. And then on part 2, I'll just do 2 more of these problems very similar. So if you want to go ahead and that was enough help, go ahead and try the assignment again. Or if you think you need some more help, go ahead and watch the next video. I'll be right back.